I mostly hear questions about how to license or release cover songs, but not a lot about how to market them. And there's so many great ways to promote cover songs. But as somebody who's released over 200 cover songs as a part of the Punk Goes Pop compilation series, totaling nearly 1 billion streams, I want to share my top 5 tips for promoting cover songs. Hey, I'm Todd. I was a longtime label manager for independent label Fearless Records and a former VP of sales at Sony Music. Most of my years in the music industry have been spent developing artists from the ground up. And I'm still doing that today, helping artists earn a living from their music. All the tips you'll find on my channel come from testing thousands of track releases and from my record label experience. Alright, mash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Okay, let's get into my top 5 tips for promoting cover songs. Number 1, use the original artist or the owner of the song to promote your version. Of course, you've already probably dreamed of this. Usually people say I'm crazy, they'll never respond. But you'll never know if you don't try. I've done it just from cold emails. But oftentimes it comes through a roundabout connection at the label or the publisher. Like, for example, somebody at the publisher might be talking to the manager or the artist and saying, hey, did you check out this new cover that this new artist did? And they like it. So sometimes it happens like that. The publishers have money to gain, but also the promotion of the cover song extends the life of the original song and might expose it to a new generation of listeners. And that's a pretty easy sell for the artist. So the original songs that you're covering are most likely owned by one of the major publishers: Universal, Sony, BMG Rights, Warner Chappell, Cobalt. All of these major publishers and their label counterparts own song rights and masters. But what you probably don't realize is they also own blogs, YouTube channels, media companies, services, agencies, merchandise and e-commerce platforms, etc. And these are all roads into the mothership. For example, the YouTube channel Cover Nation is owned by Warner. They feature covers of songs owned by all the record labels, but since they make more money from the Warner-owned songs, they're more likely to promote those on their channel. Or on their blogs. Like Warner owns the heavy music blog, The Pit, so they might feature your cover of a Warner music artist on their blog just because it's in the family. Try doing a Google search, Warner Music Acquires, or Universal Music Acquires, and click the News tab. This uncovers tons of companies you never thought might be owned by a major music company. You can look at Wikipedia too, but typically they only mention the labels that have been acquired. Here's a bonus strategy for you really ambitious or well-funded artists. If you can pay to get the original artist involved, perhaps a cameo in the video or somebody famous in the video, there's a good chance you'll have a huge cover on your hands. We did this with Falling in Reverse and their cover of Coolio's Gangster's Paradise. Coolio was in the video, but he also made an appearance with the band at the Alternative Press Music Video Awards. Tip number 2, pop culture, trends, TV, and film. People are searching for covers on YouTube or the music stores, and it's obvious you should try to get in those playlists. But what about TikTok trends, and TV, and film, and games? For example, I work with an artist called Awake at Last, and they covered the classic rock hit Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas, and that was the theme song for the TV show Supernatural, and there's a huge online community that talks about that TV show. So you need to plug that cover song into the community and let it spread organically. And by the way, Kansas did end up tweeting about that cover song. On any given week on TikTok, there's songs that are trending, and sometimes there's dances to those songs. But you could quickly record an acoustic or a cappella cover of that song and see where that leads you. Here's a bonus strategy. You can use YouTube in-stream ads to target the original song on YouTube, and for a low cost, get your song in front of it. It's a skippable ad. And since it's very relevant to what that person was trying to watch, they're usually happy when they discover a clever version of it. So your click-through and view rate is higher than when you promote your original music. You can do the same thing on YouTube for communities and interests. We did that with the Kansas cover and targeted all of the Supernatural videos on YouTube. Tip number 3 is about the timing of your cover song. You want to release your cover when the original song is either new or at its peak popularity. For example, while I worked at Fearless, I worked with an artist called I Prevail, and in 2014 they got a tip from a radio promoter for for when Taylor Swift's new single was going to radio. This was Blank Space. I Prevail recorded their cover a few weeks before the radio campaign kicked in, and they released it just as it was going up the charts, the original song, and it's sort of a piggyback strategy. It worked big time. That song now has over 200 million streams. And since the band had an original EP of songs out, a lot of fans were checking those out and loving them. So after a while, the band became a really popular rock band, and I don't think they've released a cover song since. Tip number 4, make it fun or make it serious. Anything else is just karaoke. If you're a solo artist or a singer and performance is your strength, then just let your talent shine through in a passionate performance, a sort of X Factor scenario. Those do really well. Making it fun is my choice. There's so much more you can do. Your version's already going to be measured against the original, and unless you think you've improved on the original somehow, you better not take it too seriously, because you could end up with a karaoke version. Tip number 5, song choice has a lot to do with marketing your cover. So the next time you're choosing a cover, consider these song choice tips. If you cover a song that had a short lifespan for maybe a year or two, then the audience for your cover is going to be significantly reduced. And if you choose a song that had a narrow age group at the time, a teen idol for example, when you release your cover, just know it's only going to appeal to that sort of grown-up teen audience. And keep in mind the longevity of a song. There's a good bet a number 1 song is going to have a long life. It's so competitive at the top of that chart that it's almost a guarantee that the song is going to have a long lifespan. Check Google Trends for a graph of the song you want to cover. Is the song on its way up or on its way down? Speaking of trends, are cover songs still in style? According to Google Trends in this graph, it says they are. Try to find historical number 1 songs. You can look at historical charts online. Songs from decades past already have a huge footprint, and they span generations. I know some of you have been hesitant to release cover songs because you have concerns about licensing or getting permission from the original artist. Before you release your next cover song, make sure to check out my other video on how to release a cover song. I really appreciate you checking out my channel. I hope I can help you on your way to making music your career. Take care.